He's so romantic. He's always buying me flowers and treating me to dinner.
He was so sweet and very protective. He just wanted to make sure I was safe.
He is so cool. Sometimes he calls me names, but everyone does that.
She texted me constantly, wondering where I was or who I was hanging out with. It's nice to be loved so much.
I'm lucky to have someone totally dedicated to me, but sometimes I feel trapped.
She hit me, but she apologized right after.
He forced me to. Is it really my fault?
He pushed me, but we do that all the time.
She spat in my face, but she apologized after.
She choked me, but she was just angry.
He punched me in my face.
She hit me. She
Constantly
slapped
texting
me.
me.
He pushed me down.
She texted
Just
me
wanted to
constantly.
make sure I
He
was
forced
safe.
me.
He
calls
said
me
he was
names.
sorry.
He was
She
sorry.
said she was
He
sorry.
said he was
Because
sorry.
I love him.
She loves me.
I love her.
Hi, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 5 of Socially Connected. My name is Janessa Rivera, Deputy Director with Concilio, and I have a special guest today. Please introduce yourself, special guest.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wilma Lebron, and I am Concilio's new bilingual victim witness service coordinator.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So, as you can see, we are fashionable today for episode 5 with our orange. Today's theme for our episode is teen dating violence, TDV. And February happens to be Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And we wear orange to show our awareness for this very, very, I would say, kind of under the radar cause, right? So like a lot of people know about domestic violence, not too many people know about teen dating violence. So we are using our platform today to focus on that. We have 2 special guests. We have the founder from Asia Adams Save Our Children Foundation, and we also have a representative from Congreso. They work a lot with the domestic violence population, and they even do some work in the community with the teen dating violence population. So one of the reasons we thought it was important to highlight teen dating violence, even though it is the awareness month, it's just some of the statistics that come out, right? So 1 out of 3 youth in their lifetime have been affected by teen dating violence. And in a 12-month span of time in the US, it has been documented and noted that 1.5 million students and youth have experienced one form of teen dating violence issue, right? So that's a lot. Think about that. From your freshman year of high school, the first day you walk in, to the last day, your senior year when you graduate in 4 years, roughly 6 million teens have been affected in one way or another through teen dating violence. So we thought it was really, really important to highlight. And as Wilma mentioned, she is the coordinator of victim witness services. And, you know, we have tons of adults that come through with issues. Some of them may be domestic violence. And when we do, their intakes and their stories, we find out that this has been a pattern that might have been going on in their lifetime, even before they, journey to adulthood. So even though we don't serve that population and we service the adults, we have a lot of programs where we do service the youth. So we cannot be naive to the fact that this may be going on in our community and potentially in any of the youth that we serve in any of our programs, right? We have plenty of high school and middle school children that we serve in the summer, in our after school programs. So we thought it was really, really important to discuss it, highlight it, show awareness to it, but bring in specialists specifically that know about it, right? So Wilma, this is your first time on the show. So we're breaking the ice, Wilma's ice, right? And to be introducing our very first guest speaker.
For sure. So, as I said before, I am Concilio's new bilingual coordinator, but I'm not new to Concilio. I was a victim witness advocate for about a year and a half, and this is when I met this young lady and was introduced to her platform and her story. Ms. Harper has been an amazing advocate for this cause, and we have the honor to have her on via phone call today. So I'm going to, further ado, give way to Ms. Harper and her story. Hello, Ms. Harper.
Hello, how are you?
I am well. I am well. We are live on air. And I wanted to have you introduce yourself and then go into why this cause is so near and dear to your heart.
Okay. Well, I started the Asia Adams Save Our Children Foundation immediately after my daughter, Asia Adams, who was a 20 at Westchester University, grade 8 student, was murdered by she was 18. Murdered her. She was my only child. And of course, as most parents feel, I loved her with all of my heart more than I love myself. And I was devastated, traumatized, because one of the things that often people think in terms of dating violence, that it happens to other people. No, it can happen to yours. It happened to mine. And the only way I could even begin to put one foot in front of the other, something about it. I think that's really crucial for all of those who have been traumatized by whatever. Do something about it. So I immediately, there was a 2-week period where they were unable to identify and locate the victim mindset. During that period, I did not sleep. I really was catnap, but in the process, I pulled out a paper and pencil and started writing down, because my background was in health and human services for the last, all my professional career. I said, okay, I had to do something. I had to do something. Negative energy I had that made me feel like I wanted to hurt someone. And that's just the antithesis of my personality. And just redirect it into something that was going to make a difference.
That's powerful.
And since that time, 20,000 young people later, college, high school,
Wow. Ms. Harper, I wanted to ask you, you said that your daughter was dating this young man. Did she exhibit any signs of the domestic violence cycle in front of you to give you as a clue in as to what was going on?
No, not at all. No, I had no idea. I met the young man once, and I didn't like him when I met him because he showed arrogance to a level that I've never seen arrogance. Like, I guess he thought he was like the Adonis, I don't know, but I didn't like him, and I don't arrogance set me off, and I didn't like it. But outside of that, no, she didn't have any marks or time or no. She came home on weekends, okay, because she was at Westchester University, so she came home every weekend, and that's during the time in which she met him. I think the kids get out in May, and by November he had killed her.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So when people I'm trying to think of the word, a psychopath, a sociopath, are those people that are very arrogant, that are very self-centered. Those are signs, just like what we all, in terms of the country, just went through. We had a very arrogant person that was in charge, and all kinds of trauma that we all experience. And it's very similar. Yeah, people that are sociopaths don't see themselves higher than others. It is very destructive. And normally, a person who commits such heinous acts is usually a sociopath.
For sure. So it's very important that we notice that, right? That that extreme arrogance, which are signs of that, those personality traits. And I wanted to pivot the conversation because I met you through one of your workshops, and I wanted to lean in to talk about your foundation and the educational piece that you do with your foundation.
Well, immediately, one of our founding members on the board was Isha's professor from Westchester University, and her focus is on women. Okay, and she immediately and myself, along with other members that we pulled together, decided to set things up, and she actually led me towards evidence-based curriculum and terminology that I can understand. Eventually, we connected with the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing and did some further work with a group of young people, students, a youth leadership team from Westchester University and some from Lincoln University, which is my alma mater. We began searching on the types of physical violence. Obvious, black eyes, getting pushed, getting choked, getting shoved. But there are some other smaller things that you might not necessarily detect, like emotional abuse, okay, like stalking, like monetary and economic abuse, okay, like sexual assault. Okay, sexual assault is rampant in our community. Very often it is a sign almost related to that sociopath behavior of a person, feels themselves better and above the law, and especially when guys get into group think and don't let alcohol and so when I say group think, I'm talking about football teams, baseball teams, fraternities, those types of groups. A lot of times in gangs, their initiation processes. Okay, so I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Oh no, you definitely did. You definitely service exactly how the foundation has unraveled a lot of educational pieces from your personal experience. And I wanted to know if you ever had justice prevail in your daughter's case.
How do I put it? Justice prevailed in that the person is in prison for life, plus 40, whatever that means.
Right.
I guess that means they're never getting out. No justice in terms of the victim witness statement, which I carefully prepared. And of course, it was very emotional in preparation of that it never occurred. Okay? Which I understand you're being a victim advocate. Is that a part?
It is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because we work with certain cases to prepare a victim witness statement. And part of the client's closure procedure in getting some healing is their day that statement could be read out loud.
No, it did not happen. And mind you, this was a case where there were two victimizers. The guy that joined in and called under monetary abuse in that my daughter had just inherited some money from the death of her aunt. And so they tortured her for her PIN number. Okay? Right. So this falls into the realm of monetary abuse, community violence. And it is rampant. And I have done sessions where the parents would say, oh no, 12-year-olds. Oh, they're not dating. They're too young. And I'm like, okay, just, wait for a second. And the parents' mouth is dropping. Because, young people, 11, 12 years old, I mean, come on. With all the stuff that they see on television, okay? To think that your 11-year-old is not interested in the opposite or same sex is ridiculous.
Correct.
So something come out of their mouth, like, for example, how do you break up with a girl? Oh, we don't know. And they're young, they're children, and they've been inundated with all of this stuff that they're not really ready to see or negotiate or logically even think through.
That's very true.
Miss Harper, this is Janessa. Hello, Miss Harper. As a parent myself of a 11 and 12-year-old, you are right. They are talking about it amongst themselves, whether they talk about it in the household or not. They have their crushes and they start to formulate these interpersonal relationships that turn into dating relationships, even at that age. And like you, my background is in human services and social services. And I had worked directly with children for a long, long time, providing counseling and therapy to them. And, they have quote unquote boyfriends, girlfriends, and dating relationships in elementary school. So this is really something important to talk about. We truly appreciate you coming on to share your story. I myself am an advocate for domestic violence and teen dating violence. It's just something that's very, very important that we need to talk about. And I'm very, very grateful that Wilma had the access to you. Not only are you out there doing advocacy because it's needed, but the personal piece, right? You are a parent to a child who was victimized. And unfortunately, even though, as you said, justice legally prevailed, right? Emotionally and morally, it didn't prevail. And that's why you continue on with your foundation. So on behalf of Concilio, I would like to say thank you so much for sharing your story about Miss Asia and in your journey in sharing her life and in fulfilling, the passion and purpose to advocate for this through her foundation and making sure to get the word out there so that we don't have a cycle of these situations going on in our community. I thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Harper.
you. And we will be putting up your information, Ms. Harper. So anyone that has additional questions, if anyone is hearing and they want training for their organization, their staff, or for, their group, training can be anywhere. It could be in the schools. It could be to private groups, so Ms. Harper can provide that training. And as she mentioned, she, started in this foundation up in 2005, and she has partnered with the University of Pennsylvania through the PA Coalition Against Domestic Violence in 2012. And she has gone around and trained so many professionals that are doing this regularly. And as we know, professionally, the focus is always on domestic violence, which is with adults. And in 2012, when she coordinated with the efforts of University in Pennsylvania and the coalition, she was able to provide training to other Philadelphia DV providers, such as Women Against Abuse, Lutheran, and Congreso. And that is my segue to our next guest, because our next guest is Ramona Peralta, and she is the manager of family wellness with Congreso. So, that is such a cool segue because it's such a small world, right? Having one guest who provided training to the needs and the organization of the next guest. So it's a true circle. Welcome, Ramona. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm doing well.
So as I mentioned, you are the manager of family and wellness, right? And Congreso works specifically with the domestic violence, what we say the DV population. So, we understand that part, but could you tell us a little bit about, any of the services that you have provided or what you have seen regarding dating abuse and dating violence in our youth, in our community? I'm sure you see that coming through, right? Because statistically, youth that encounter dating violence are between the ages of 13 to 21 and 22 years old. So even we consider them adults, they still are considered to be victims of teen dating violence. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Sure. So we do have a great program serving youth in the community that have been impacted by violence, and also children as young as 4 years old who have witnessed violence in their home. I think it is important to start with the definition of what teen dating violence is, and it is a controlling, abusive, and aggressive behavior in a romantic relationship. And it is important to mention that this occurs in relationship of people of all genders, and that it, as someone shared earlier, it could be verbal, emotional, physical, sexual, um, in a combination of all those, and also it could be digitally.
Yeah, and that's so important now, right? Because everything is digital, especially like with the pandemic. All our professional work is digital. And just like we use digital platforms for good things, digital platforms could also be used for bad things, right?
Exactly. And I want to speak a little bit about nationally. The statistics shows that only 33% of teens who were in a violent relationship ever told anyone about the abuse. So the isolation, keeping the signs of abuse and what they're going through away from everybody else, from relatives, from family, is putting them at risk of further violence. So it is important for youth to speak up and seek services. And I want to speak a little bit about the services here in Philadelphia. Locally, we have the 24-hour, 7 days a week, 24 domestic violence hotline. And we also at Congreso offer services to anyone from, as I mentioned earlier, youth from the ages of 4 to 13 who have witnessed domestic violence or who are going through domestic violence, and from 14 years old and older can also access our services. Our services are confidential. We don't require any documentation. Folks can come to us if they speak Spanish, if they speak other languages. We have access to language line to provide free services to them.
Thank you for that. And, I think it's important to note, even though, we give out these statistics, it's important to note that we can only get statistics based off of what is reported, right? And with domestic violence that deals with the adults, we know that it's underreported. So just imagine with the youth, I'm sure it's even more underreported because one, we're all Latinas here. First of all, I am well of age with children, and I still can't say I have a boyfriend. It's a friend, un amigo, right? So in certain cultures, you can't even date as a youth. And if you are dating, it's not recognized as dating. So let's say I am a young girl that's in a dating relationship and it is abusive. One, I'm scared to talk about it, right? Just because I'm unsure. I might not know that it is abusive because maybe I have normalized negative behaviors and toxic behaviors, okay? But not only that, it's already scary to be in that, but then now I have to tell my mom and dad or my guardian that I am dating. You don't want to get in trouble for dating. So that's another thing. We do know those statistics, but as people that work in human services and social services, I think it's pretty safe to say that those statistics are still wrong. Okay. So with the cameo right there. So February is the month of love as well. So that was a shameless plug for love. Okay. And we're talking about healthy love, right? That's what we want. We want the teens to know about healthy love. And it starts when they're young. When they're young. I think one of the most, one of my pet peeves, right, is, like when you have children that are elementary age, and let's say a young boy is picking on a girl, and we say to the girl, oh, he must like you. That's why he's doing that, right? I have a son and I have a daughter, and I think it was very, very important from a young age to say, that is not the way we show that we like you. He may like you, but that we do not accept that form of showing us that's the way you like us, because once that is in their mind, they are classically conditioned to believe, right? Negative behaviors equal love or equal affection or equal caring, right? And then it escalates from there. So I think we touched a lot of great points here. You definitely, from working in Congreso, you guys are definitely one of the specialists in our city with domestic violence. And I'm so glad that you're opening the doors to education, prevention, and advocacy on youth dating violence, teen dating violence, as well as having those resources for youth that see it, right? They may be seeing it from their siblings that are in TDV. Maybe they're seeing it from their parents. And I think it's important to note that teen dating violence, that definition you gave, was perfect, right? But that is covered for any youth that's between the ages of 13 to that 21, 22 years of age. A lot of times on college campuses, we see this a lot, right? So I appreciate you coming on and talking a little bit about the services that you guys provide at Congreso, giving us some of the statistics, as well as some information. We flashed the English and Spanish information there, the hotline number. So if anyone that's watching or listening, if you know a friend or family member that are a victim, or you believe are a victim of teen dating violence or domestic abuse or intimate partner violence or dating violence, however you want to call it, a form of unhealthy behaviors between a dating relationship, please feel free to reach out to this number or reach out to Ramona and her staff at Congreso. As she mentioned, all services are private and confidential. And I'm sure they tailor the needs individually to each person and whatever they need. Thank you so much, Ramona.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Wilma, this was our first episode. It's a lot, right? It's a lot in
It
a short
is,
period
it
of time.
is. I
It was
I
good.
enjoyed myself for sure.
Time flies when you're advocating for the community you love, right? So this is your very first time. So, now you can be a pro, and we'll see you on many more episodes, right? So now, we're going to thank our guest, Miss Harper from Asia Adams Foundation, the Asia Adams Save Our Children Foundation. We're also going to thank Congreso and Ramona coming from Congreso, Ramona Peralta coming from Congreso, and sharing all of those statistics. And I think the biggest thing that everyone that's watching, even though we at Concilio don't provide the teen dating violence services, we are part of the community, which is very important to know who provides those services in the community, because in serving the community, like I mentioned before, we may come across that, right? We may see youth in one of our after school or summer camp programs, or, youth in our foster program, or just someone that comes through a community event. And we want them to know that we may not provide it, but we will help you find the person who does. We will link you to who does, the specialist who does, because it takes a village. And Concilio is one pillar of the village. And we lean on our partners, like the guest that we had today, to provide that information. So, that wraps it up for today. But, we are on live every fourth Thursday of the month. March, we will come back with another episode 6. That theme will be National Parenting Month. And it will be on March 25th, again, from 6 to 6:30. We have a couple events that are coming up for all of our watchers that like to come to our events. I joke around and I say that Concilio is neck and neck with Chick-fil-A with our drive-through events. We continue to provide the community all the engagement and needs that they desire with our drive-through events. So we have Cafecito de Niños, which is our forum for any parents, any individuals that are interested in becoming foster parents or resource parents, as we call them. That will be going on virtually on March 25th. We also have periodically on Wednesdays, we have on-site COVID testing at our parking lot. It's free. You don't need an appointment. We are partnering with the Department of Health, right? So look out for upcoming dates in March, either on our website or through our social media. Normally it's Wednesdays from 11 to 2, 12 to 2. Don't quote me, but it'll be on the flyer. And also on Wednesdays, we have been partnering with local community stakeholders in providing food box distributions, right? And so we always have a minimum of 200 boxes that we give out. The last couple of times we've had, over 300, over 400 boxes, and, they go so fast. It's first come, first serve. So, we do it in the drive-through fashion. So, you don't have to get out your car. We have staff and volunteers that put it in the trunk of your car for you. So those are some of the things that are coming up. As always, everybody, we are wanting to do more and more with our community, and every little bit helps. So if you're interested in donating to Concilio, please make sure to hit up our Cash App at $Concilio, CONCILIO, or you can go on our website to www.elconcilio.net/donate. So there we go. I try to speak really, really fast, right, to get everything in for the last few minutes. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. And is there anything that you want to say, Wilma, before we shut off the lights?
I look forward to servicing this community and being in this capacity. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming along with all your terrific orange glow. So we are showing awareness to TDV. And for everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you can share it, watch it, send it to other people that may need to hear the word or get some of the resource. And until next time, we'll see you on March 25th. Bye.